bullshit.
Welcome to Almost Functional Gaming. We aim to help all followers of Russ and the Allfather to improve on the tabletop. List building, tournament recaps, unit reviews, weekly council of the Fang, and other tips to help us all go from almost functional to fully functional. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also, check out our merch store and Almost Functional score tracker on Amazon.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Almost Functional 40K here with Aiden for our weekly Council of the Fang.
Weekly Council of the Fang, we're back, and we've got a really fun one to dive into. How you doing today, Matt?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing, Aiden?
Doing great, man. Really excited. My thumb hurts from building all these models. Having a blast.
Well, that's good. Yeah, we got a lot of cool stuff to build and more on the horizon.
Yes, I can't wait for Wave 2.
Yeah, me too, because then we'll actually have an idea when this will be illegal to actually start taking to events, because I'm going to a GT this week, and then I got to play Old Wolves, which kind of makes me sad in a way.
I know, you would think. I was so worried that we were going to get nerfed with this book that I was like mourning and grieving our old wolves. And now I'm really excited to play new wolves.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, I'm going to ATC next month, and so I'm like, man, their rules cut off is like the 7th or something. I was like, dude, I am so worried that new wolves won't be fully released by then, and I got to take the old wolves to ATC.
Yeah, there's so much to test out, try out. I keep going back and forth on this list, that list. What detachment? Spoiler for today. What detachment am I going to take? What units can fit where? What combos? I mean, there's a lot to dive into.
Yep. That's what Aiden and I are going to be doing tonight, is ranking the detachments from the new book with, what is it you got on there? Enhancements, army rules, or detachment rules, stratagems.
Yep.
Cool. Yep. Aiden worked up all that stuff for tonight for me, which was really, really nice.
Yeah, we got some stuff to chew on in this new book. I would say, my first glance at these 3 detachments, they're not so straightforward as other detachments we're used to. So it's going to take a lot of play testing and feeling out on these. But it's not as point and click as some of the Space Marine detachments.
True. Yeah, I don't think any of them are like bad. There's been some like bad detachments, like Champions of Fenris. Yeah. So I think some of these are like average at worst, and some of them are pretty good. So it's like for only having 3, they're like 3 pretty solid detachments.
Yeah, and I was thinking ahead of time, what's going to be the best? What's going to be the worst? And I honestly can't tell you. I think they all have merit. So
I think it all will come down to your play style and what units you want to take.
Exactly, and you might have a different play style than me. We'll be ranking each individually. So yeah, why don't we dive into the ranking system and how it's going to go?
Sure.
I'll go ahead and add this to the stage. So yeah, pardon the simplistic style, but it's just a simple sheet. Each of us, Matt and
Space Wolves. We're not fancy.
We're not fancy.
We get the job done.
Exactly. Matt and myself, we're going to be ranking all of the different detachments: Saga the Hunter, Saga the Bold, Saga the Beast Slayer, on their detachment rules, enhancements, and stratagems. We're going to be on 1 through 10. So whatever Matt's going to rank the detachment rule, I'll have my own go at it for Saga the Hunter, and then we'll see at the very end what we personally rank the detachment and combine what does that look like. Yeah. And then once we go through them, we can see how they compare to all 3.
Yeah. And are we ranking them in comparison with each other, or comparison with the game, all other army detachments, in just like everything?
Ooh, that's a good question. Gut feeling, 1 to 10, like how good is this Saga the Hunter detachment rule?
If you take it to a tournament, how is it going to fare against everything else? Not just
how much is this detachment rule going to impact your game? How good are the enhancements? Is that going to A 10 means that your entire game plan centers around 1 or 2 enhancements. 10 and attachment rule means that this completely changes the way you play your army, or vice versa. A 1 attachment rule is you might as well be playing with no detachment rule at all.
Correct. All right, so let's just go ahead. The detachment rule for Saga the Hunter. So if you have multiple units within engagement range of an enemy, then any Space Wolf unit will get +1 to hit, and if your Saga's completed, +1 to wound. And you
Correct.
also will get that if you outnumber the enemy unit.
Correct. And then the Saga is once you kill 3 units in melee,
Yes.
you complete your Saga. And that is actually the easiest Saga to complete, I would say.
Yep, and it says once it's complete, so it doesn't even say you have to wait till an end of a phase or something. So you could trigger it with one thing, kill like a little Kroot dog pack, and then now all of a sudden you have the bonuses for swinging into the Riptide or something.
Exactly. On your go turn, you multi-charge. You kill, say, 2 things before you get to your really important combat. You killed a scout early on turn 1. You have that detachment rule. You have that Saga. So, Matt, what do you feel on a scale of 1 to 10? How good is this? Have you played any games with it?
I haven't. I've watched some, like Dan Cardona from Hobby Goblins. He just played it on table the other day against Tau and completely wrecked them. Even with them getting some cheeky shots and picking up Bjorn turn 1, he was still able to come through and walk through the Tau. If you haven't seen it, check out Hobby Goblins Battle Reports. Lots of Space Wolf stuff over there. Really good.
Yeah.
So actually, this is a pretty solid army rule, other than you have a couple caveats to jump through to get it.
Right.
Like making sure you outnumber or making sure you tag team. So this is where hunting wolves or having a transport to charge in, stuff like that will help. Or
Totally.
running the big blood claw squads would really buff from this because you're going to outnumber them most of the time.
Yep. 10-man Wolfen.
Yep.
Even the Iron Priests, they reroll wounds while they're attacking an enemy engaged with your own vehicle. So they want to be engaged with 2, like they want to fight something that's engaged with 2 things. And so they get +1 hit wound on this. It just is a really solid detachment rule.
Yep. So the +1 to wound and then +1 to hit and then +1 when the Saga's achieved. The Saga is super easy to achieve. So that's a great rule to have. The hoops you have to jump through to get it, drop it slightly. But I'd still say this. I'd say this is like a 7.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I would definitely rank this as an 8 because as soon as you kill 3 units in melee, which again is pretty achievable turn 2, your whole army can easily get access to +1 hidden wounds. So this can be amazing into armies where you need a lot of melee damage.
Yeah, like you're fighting into knights or something like that where you're going to be outnumbered the most of the time. I tend to run like Terminators, Head Takers. So like a lot of times I'm charging into bigger units and I don't normally tag team just the way I play. So like for me, I'm not going to trigger this rule as much. If we just got this, you get +1 to hit. And then once the Saga is achieved, you get +1 to wound without all the loopholes.
Ooh,
I would
man.
put this at like a 9 or 10.
Totally. Yeah. If there was less restrictions on this, that's kind of the whole theme of the Space Wolf book. If there was less restrictions on the book, it would be so ridiculously busted.
Yeah. And quickly, we got a question in chat. Have you considered Space Wolf Melee and Vanguard Spearhead?
Man, I think Space Wolves have some of the best melee, Marines melee.
Oh, absolutely.
Data sheets.
Yeah, I haven't looked too hard into all the detachments yet. That's something I was talking about to Aiden about before we started. I'm going to be doing some upcoming things where I go through and build 1 or 2 wolf lists for every detachment. And so then I'll give that some more thought. I've mainly been focusing on the 3 in the book, even though I know Stormlance and Gladius and Ironstorm, other people are saying are probably really good. And in theory, I agree with that, but I haven't actually built any lists for that yet. I've been just playing around with the new detachments because I know what the old detachments are. But
yeah, Vanguard, it gives you durability outside at range, which is nice. It doesn't necessarily give you ways to get into combat. It does give you precision, I think, on infantry for a CP. So it doesn't necessarily boost your melee damage unless I'm missing a relic or something. But durability before you get into combat is really good. So yeah, there's definitely viable builds in Vanguard Spearhead.
Yeah, because he's saying, infiltrating a Bloodclaw brick with a Wolf Priest would be pretty nasty. And yes, I agree.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, wow. That would be so much pressure.
Yeah, Space Wolves have some of, if not the best melee Marines. So they're going to improve any detachment just by putting them in and giving you melee you didn't have before.
You know what a big weakness of melee Marines are? All of it's 2 damage. Almost every single data sheet that's a regular melee Marine is 2 damage. And you think we have like really good access to 3 damage. Wolfen, Thunderwolf Cavalry, even Iron Priests are characters, leaders in units.
Yeah, Terminator leaders can get it, and then Arjak and Logan put out good 3 damage. Like, yeah,
so much 3 damage.
Yeah, Bjorn. Like, yeah, we got a lot of access to 3 damage. So, really, you take any detachment that's missing and put 1 or 2 Space Wolf combat units in it, it just gives you something you were missing.
Exactly. All right, so enhancements. I'll go ahead and read the enhancements.
All right, let's go.
You read the strats. So the enhancements, we've got a Space Wolves Scout 7, which is, I like that. Any Adeptus Astartes, Fort Philippine. That can be incredible on the right target.
Oh, yeah.
You have Space Wolves, pick a wolf unit. It gets lethal hit on its wolves. That's very... and then the last one is any Adeptus Astartes model, +1 attacks or +2 attacks on the charge. Yep. So, what are you thinking as far as enhancements for Saga the Hunter?
So I think we got 2 really good ones, one okay one and one one. So I would put this around a 7. There's nothing like amazing that like jumps off like this just changes everything. But there's a couple of them are like, you know what, that's useful. I can find a use for that.
Yeah, Fort Philippine, you can put on a Gravis Captain, Iron Priest, Wolfguard Battle Leader. It's pretty damn good. Scout 7 is really interesting because we'll talk about it in a sec, but getting into combat is kind of a problem for this detachment. I would say this is a solid 6 for me. So,
all right, so we're coming out to the same average so far.
Yeah, pretty close. Stratagem.
Right. Yeah, so we have Envelop and Ensnare, 1 Space Wolf unit, excluding monsters and vehicles from your army that has not been selected to fight. Until the end of the phase, each time a model unit makes a pile-in or consolidate, you can move 6 instead of 3, and when doing so, you don't have to go toward the closest enemy model, just toward the closest enemy unit. So that's got a lot of little tricky plays in it. So that one I really like.
Yeah, quite good. I found a little bit of use for that so far.
Oh, yeah. We got Chosen Prey. Your movement phase, just after a Space Wolf unit from your army falls back. Until the end of the turn, you're able to shoot and charge. That's fallback, shoot, and charge is always a good strat. They have Territorial Advantage. This is one where if you kill an enemy unit and you're on an objective in the fight phase, you can just sticky it. So that's really good if you're putting pressure on them, so now they have to come through you to turn that back off.
Exactly.
Bounding Advance, 1 Space Wolf Infantry or Space Wolf Beast. This is the one that lets you move through enemy models in the movement or charge phase, but it doesn't affect mounted, so that's a little glaring weakness in that.
Yeah.
Then we got Overwhelming Onslaught, fight phase, 2 Adeptus Astartes units from your army with engagement range of that enemy unit, or 1 Beast unit. You get end of the phase, each time a model in the enemy unit makes an attack. So you make an enemy unit -1 to hit if you have 2 of your units in with it, or 1 Beast unit.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm spending 1 CP to try to save Fenrisian wolves or hunting wolves.
Yeah, not really. But if you have a lot around, they can be useful to keep other units alive, because it's not when they target that beast unit. It's just the unit that's in combo with that beast unit gets -1 to hit.
Yep, because another thing, you send them in with like some Terminators and like a little dog squad or something. And now the Terminators are -1 to hit and -1 to wound if you're higher toughness. So that could be really nice. It's another thing in this detachment where you got some hoops to jump through to qualify for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then we got Marked for Death, shooting phase, 2 Adeptus Astartes units from your army, excluding beasts that have not shot yet. Select 1 enemy unit visible to both of your units. Until the end of the phase, model units can only target that enemy unit, and only if it's eligible target. And each time the model and 1 of your units make an attack, reroll a wound roll of 1.
Yeah.
So that's another one. You got to jump through hoops, and now your units can only shoot that unit. So for some reason, you get lucky and kill it with the first one. The second one still has to shoot there or not shoot.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird to jump through, and it's kind of a minor buff. Reroll 1s to wound is not really amazing.
Yep.
But on some of our really powerful shooting, aka the Predator Annihilator, reroll 1s to wound is actually really good.
Yeah, because it is Adeptus Astartes, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a couple really good ones in here.
Yep.
And a couple okay ones. None of these would I say are bad.
None are bad. Yeah, the worst one probably is -1 to hit if you're engaged with 2. It's really easy for your opponent to manipulate. Like it's not that great.
No.
But what I love and the 3 standout ones: move through models, charge through models with infantry. That is absolutely incredible.
Yep.
Fall back and charge, which is so necessary on a melee army. Like if you get tagged on the end of your squad gets tagged by a rhino and you can't fall back and do anything, it's just is so detrimental. Absolutely. And then 6-inch pile and consolidate, again, incredible as a melee army.
Honestly, and I really, really like this sticky one. You charge in, kill them off with something, sticky it. Now they can't just shoot you off it to deny you the points. They actually have to come touch it.
Yeah, they really do. That's quite powerful. If your opponent doesn't have a lot of fast objective deniers, that's a really great way to secure objectives.
Yeah, because you could do something like charge something with a unit of Fenrisian wolves.
Mm-hmm.
Just have them towed into 6 to get their kill like a little ranger squad or something. Sticky the objective as long as you have at least 1 OC on them. Now they have to shoot and kill 40 points worth of dogs and still come touch the objective. So it's like without exposing anything, you're forcing them to feed you more stuff, especially if you're doing like your expansion on one of the tables where your expansion's exposed.
Yeah, definitely. I would do that on my expansion if you're going to get gunned down on the next turn.
Yeah. So I'd put this at like an 8.5.
8.5. Yeah. Fantastic. I would say this is an 8 because these stratagems are very powerful if you know how to use them. Again, being able, a big problem I ran into with Stormlance was armies that just ran up and stood 1 inch away from me and didn't shoot me, or stood 9 inches away from me. Sorry, they screened out their important units. And this is a detachment that says I can move over anything with infantry and I can pile and consolidate 6. Can also fall back over enemy units. This for me gives it an 8 in my book.
Yeah, and you could even outflank like a dog squad, move it up, rapid ingress it, move it up, and charge through a screen. Tag some tanks that don't have enough attacks to kill them back, and force an enemy to either shoot the dogs or There's
tag a Rogal Dorn,
because it works on beasts. So there's all sorts of weird stuff you could do with that one.
Totally. I mean, it's quite powerful. Overall, 7.4. So it's pretty solid. Middle of the road. Let's see how it stacks up on the next one. Saga of the Bold. So, Matt, how many games have you played with Saga of the Bold?
All but 1, so probably like 7 or 8. I've played 1 game of Beast Slayer, and pretty much everything else I've played Bold so far.
Wow. I have not played any games. I've played about 7 games so far. I'm mixing a couple up. I've not played a game yet with Bold. So this is kind of, take that with a grain of salt.
Yep. All right, so the detachment rule here is heroes all. So to achieve your saga, there's 4 different things you can do, and you have to do 3 of them. Have one of your characters control an objective in no man's land. Have one of your character units wholly in your opponent's deployment zone. Have one of your character's units kill your Oath of the Moment target. And have one of your character units that's already killed an Oath of the Moment target kill a second one. And so you have to achieve 3 of those. So normally 2 is pretty easy. Every once in a while, that 3rd one can be hard.
Tell me, in your games you've played with it, how easy is it to get the saga? Like, do you usually get it late in the game? Is it turn 3?
It depends on the matchup, because the way I've been running, like a Deep Strike Logan turn 1, and then a lot of times Rapid Ingress Arjac turn 2. So a lot of times by turn 3, that's when I can have Arjac move up and get into the opponent's deployment zone, depending on whether... If my opponent went first, I can Rapid Ingress him turn 2, and then on the bottom of 2 be in their deployment zone a lot of times. And if I went first, then that's normally top of 3. So that's normally around when you can get in the deployment zone one. The second Oath one, that depends on what you're playing against. If it's like Eldar and they're just spamming units, that one's easy too. If you're playing like I played against the Double Wraith, Silent King, Doomsday Arc Necrons the other day, and that's just hard to kill your Oath targets just because those units are so fucking big and heal back. So just sometimes it depends on the matchup, but so it's one of the harder ones to achieve, but it's not impossible. So before you achieve it, any Space Wolf character unit, so specifically Space Wolf character unit, can reroll 1 hit, 1 wound, or 1 damage.
Or 1 damage, yep.
And then once it's achieved, every unit in your army can reroll 1 hit, 1 wound, and 1 damage.
Do you find, like, how much value do you get out of this?
This, I find, buffs the shooting of the list more than anything else. So now, once you get the army roll up, your Lancers, if you're buffing a Lancer with rapid fire, he's got a built-in reroll. So now out of your 3 shots, you get 2 rerolls to hit, 2 reroll to wound, and 2 reroll to damage.
It's pretty amazing.
Efficiency of that Lancer's goes, and now your Predators all have 1 reroll to hit, 1 reroll to wound, 1 reroll to damage.
Also pretty amazing.
Yeah, so it's just, I find it just takes stuff that normally does good for you and just gives it a little more consistency. It's only 1 dice reroll, so you're swinging 24 head taker attacks in your character, you get 1 reroll here or there. So it's like, it's not that big on that stuff. It's where you're having a few elite shots. Bjorn, his 1-shot Hellfrost cannon shot. You ever roll that fucking 1 to wound every fucking time? Now
always.
Well, now you're going to roll it twice to be really mad, but you got that chance.
Yeah. So what would you score this detachment rule as someone who's played it?
The detachment rule, I would say 5. The detachment rule is not where this shines.
Absolutely. I would say for me, it's even a little lower because you're not really, you can't really guarantee your Saga going off versus like Saga of the Hunter, you can pretty easily guarantee it when you need it. This Saga, you can't necessarily guarantee it going off, and it's not necessarily it doesn't work until turn 3 at like a round. And then even when it is fully on, again, like you said, Headhunters don't really care about 1 reroll. Wolfen don't really care about 1 reroll. Thundercab don't really. I mean, the characters kind of do. Logan does. Iron Priest do. Bjorn does. For me, I think this is the weakest part of the detachment. This is the weakest detachment rule that we have. Yes. So I think I would say it's a 4.
Honestly, I wasn't even thinking about. I was thinking about just the rule in general, but yeah, it being the harder one to achieve too. Go and put me down to 4 too.
Okay.
Because I was thinking 4 or 5, but yeah, that's a good point. It's meh when you get it, and it's hard to achieve.
Okay, enhancements. I'll go. Well, you go ahead with the enhancements. I'll do the strats.
All right, cool. So we got Vanguard Steel, Space Wolf model only. Add to the strength characteristics of melee weapons equipped by the bearer. If his unit has achieved one of the boasts, add 1 to the damage as well. And boasts, that's the 4 things you achieved in your Saga. They're called boasts in this attachment. So you can put that on the Thunderhammer leader, and now all of a sudden he's 7 attacks, and all he has to do is kill the Oath target or control an objective in no man's land, and he's a 3 damage hammer.
Wow.
That's really good on the right people.
Totally is, especially when you can reroll that 3 damage. 1 hit, 1 wound, or 1 damage, and 1 damage, depending on if your boast has been completed.
Yeah. And the next one is Skjald. Depth of the starting model only. Each time a Space Wolf character unit from your army achieves a boast, if the bearer is on the battlefield, you gain 1 CP. If you're taking Bjorn, this is kind of useless, but this is one detachment where Bjorn doesn't have to be an auto take, because you stick this on like an Iron Priest or something back buffing your vehicle, and you should get at least 2 to 3, possibly 4 extra CP anyway. So that's really, really nice.
Quite powerful. Yeah, I really do like this because Bjorn, I think, is amazing for the CP regeneration. And if you can budget that and take other units that do other things, I really like this one.
Then Horde Slayer, Space Wolf model only. At the start of the fight phase, if there are more enemy models than friendly models wholly within 6 of the bearer, until the end of the phase, add 2 to the attack characteristics of melee weapons equipped by the bearer. If the bearer's unit has achieved 1 or more of the boasts, add 3 to their attacks instead.
Very solid.
This one, he rarely ever achieves a boast, so he rarely ever gets the +3. But I've played around putting this on the Iron Priest. So when stuff comes over and starts trying to charge the vehicles, now all of a sudden he's going in at 6 attacks. He still hits on 4s, but he's re-rolling all those wounds because they're engaged with the vehicle.
Yep.
This makes him a little bit scary.
Yep. And so, yeah, that's sneakily enough. Like, there's two really good melee buffs enhancements in this attachment.
And then now we're getting to the best.
The best.
Adeptus Astartes. So this one is any Space Wolf character. Basically, on a 2-up, if they die on a 2-up, they pop back up with 3 wounds at the end of the phase.
Wow. So for me, this is one of the big reasons you take the attachment. This is the best enhancement that I think Space Marines have access to. You put it on a combi lieutenant, and it completely changes the way that you play the game and your opponent plays the game. For me, I'm going to rate this enhancement as a 9 because this is, you build your list including this enhancement every time. You take this attachment to include this enhancement.
Yeah, I would do that as well. But here's what I know: a lot of people are taking it on the combi lieutenant. Putting this on a battle leader who fights on death on a 2-up means you have a good chance of doing that twice if you can get him killed in combat twice.
Pretty amazing.
So they kill him, he swings, end of the phase, stands back up. They kill him again, he's like...
Wow. That's pretty good. It's pretty great, too.
Yeah, that's harder to achieve because they could just shoot him, and now he doesn't get to fight on death, and it's, but there's a little trickiness there. But yeah, the combi lieutenant is... with a lone op reactive move. Oh, we finally get a shot and kill him while he's back.
Yeah, taking objectives, scoring primary that your opponent can't really do much about, and they're sacrificing resources. They're not killing him. It just gives a headache to your opponent.
Absolutely. All right, so you want to do the
stratagems?
Yes.
Yeah. So inspiring presence, 1 CP, fight phase, Adept Astartes character, lethal hits. Incredible. Lethal hits is great. We have a lot of strength 5, so lethal hits.
Anytime I see Adeptus Astartes instead of straight Space Wolf is a bonus.
It is great. Yeah, you can do this on like a fight first unit, Jude Guard, Blade Guard, or just anything that wants lethal hits. Then we have Champion's Guidance, 1 CP shooting phase or fight phase, 1 CP reroll hits. That is incredible. Wow.
Yep.
This army lost a lot of reliability in hit rolls from Logan because Logan no longer gives the whole army reroll hits on a single turn. So being able to reroll hits is a theme. You need to take some way to do that because you can't just rely on having Oath of Moment and nothing else. Yep. So that's incredible.
And that one is Space Wolf only, but still you're running a lot of Space Wolf characters, so that's a really good.
Yes, absolutely. Birth of a Saga, command phase. Wolfguard head taker, Wolfguard pack leader gains until your next command phase, it gains the character keyword. So this is interesting. It gets a couple things. You can achieve boasts with it. You can reroll 1 hit, 1 wound. It also unlocks OC for surrounding Fenrisian wolves or Wolfen. So that's kind of interesting. But overall, that's probably the least impactful of all the stratagems.
Right. Because me personally, I don't think I'm ever running one of those units without a character to begin with.
Exactly.
Unless they get precisioned out, or though I didn't think about that. If for some reason a Fenrisian wolf or Wolfen squad's within 6 of the unit, but not the character, you could pop this to hold an objective or something weird.
Yeah, could be quite impactful.
Yeah.
Alpha Strike, Adeptus Astartes character, advance and charge. That is incredible. Beautiful. Anytime we get advance and charge in melee, really nice. Here we get to the big ones. 2 CP, Heroic Resolve, your opponent's shooting phase. 1 Space Wolf character, -1 character unit, -1 damage in the shooting phase.
Yep.
Wow, that is so great on these really durable units with Invul.
If this was both phases, that would be amazing, but still incredible. Shooting, it's good. Terminators are 4 damage, so now anything 2 damage takes 4 to get through. So there's a lot more 4 damage than there used to be, like the stupid some Riptides can do that when they charge up. The Doomsday Arcs have 4 damage. Yep. So now you're just making 2 to kill 1 instead of 1. And then there's a lot of 3 damage, so that really, really helps head takers in a lot of
matchups. It really helps head takers. One of the issues I see with head takers is their survivability. So all those 3 damage plasma shots now are 2 damage, takes twice as much to kill. I love the stratagem. It's pricey at 2 CP. It's very pricey.
You got to bring Bjorn or Skjold, but I find Bjorn's more reliable. Yeah. So with having these 2 CP strats, I find you still want to bring Bjorn in this detachment most of the time.
Yeah, man. Bjorn, this attachment we'll get to in a second, but the strats, you really are going to spend a lot on the strats.
Yep.
And finally, the last one, 2 CP, counter charge, end of your opponent's charge phase. 1 Adeptus Astartes character unit within 6 or more of any, and within 6 inches of 1 or more enemy units that would be able to declare a charge against. if you were your charge phase, you now declare a charge and get you don't receive a charge bonus. That is absolutely incredible.
Mm-hmm.
There's the only reason you would ever take Champions of Fenris is for this exact enhancement in that detachment to be able to charge 6 inches without your opponent charging. So this means no more running up and towing your objective to contest, no more move blocking. Like, this is so powerful. I mean, have you used this?
I've gotten to use it twice, but honestly, in most of the games, people just play around it. So it's really the threat of it is where its strength. They're like, oh, I can't move. Like, if you move on an objective, so they just don't move on that objective.
Right. Yeah. It is quite powerful.
Yep.
So my gut on these stratagems, there are so many amazing stratagems, but there are two that are very expensive.
Yeah,
so,
other than Birth of the Saga, every one of these is good.
Yeah, wow, that's quite incredible. This has got to be like an 8 for me.
This is 10.
10 for you. Strats?
Yeah.
What do you find yourself using?
Alpha Strike is the main one. Just having that advance and charge is just huge. And then the reroll, having like basically a second oath on something because a lot of times with the Predator Annihilators and stuff, I want to put that on, or Lancers, depending on what you build. I want to oath something for my shooting.
Yeah. Wow.
And then now I can have one of my big combat units also get the rerolls.
I mean,
Lethal's
it's
good in
cool.
certain matchups. The -1 damage when it's needed is clutch.
Incredible.
And then countercharge, just the threat of it, and then occasionally getting to pull it off is awesome.
Yeah, I'm seeing I rate this detachment lower than you. I would have to try it out to see if it's better than what I think it is. But again, there's some real all-stars in this detachment.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was thinking just because I like to run Ragnar with my head taker, so having 2 units that can advance and charge, and then if someone wants to play around, put Blood Claws, now you have 3 units advancing and charging. It's basically most of the Stormlance benefits, but with other good strats.
With other good strats, too, and that incredible enhancement.
Yep.
All right, last one. Beast Slayer. I'll go ahead and read the detachment rule.
Go for it.
So each time a Adeptus Astartes model makes an attack, shooting or fighting, that targets a character monster vehicle, you get lethal hits. If your Saga has been completed, you get lethal hits against everything all the time. Saga is, you count up all of the following keyword units in your opponent's army at the start of the first battle round. Character, monster, vehicle. That is a tally. You have to kill at least half of your tally in, of those units in the course of the battle, and then you get lethal hits against everything.
Yep.
For me, personally, I find that the things that you want lethal hits against are character, monster, vehicle. And boy, wow, this detachment rule just is incredible. I mean, this is one of the reasons why you take this, because this detachment rule buffs shooting. There's so little other ways to get lethal hits on good shooting in Marines.
Absolutely.
Especially tanks. Tanks with lethal hits get really scary really quick. So this buffs shooting and melee all the time. There's very little caveat. It just is really good.
Yep. And I found this is one of the detachments where you could spam Grey Hunters with 30 shots in 40 combat attacks, or just horde Blood Claws and just lethal hits on everything. Just, oh, you have a good save? Cool, make 50 of them.
Yeah, lethal hits. Wow. That's such a good rule. For me, this is a 9. This is so powerful. One of the best detachment rules that we have access to.
Yeah, I'd go 9 too. This detachment rule is the best detachment rule in the book. And depending on matchup, this Saga is going to be easy or hard depending on the matchup, but you get it.
It doesn't even matter. You only need to complete.
You get it naturally against most of the stuff you want anyway. So that's like almost an afterthought.
Yeah,
unless
there's very like little
custodes or something like that, then you're going to want to try to unlock it. But
yeah, there's very few units that are really tough that aren't character, monster, vehicle. Yep. So cool. Anyway,
you want to do enhancements or strats?
I'll do enhancements. So Wolf Touch. This is my favorite enhancement. Not necessarily the best, but my favorite enhancement. Yep. A Space Wolf model. They get to join Wolfen, and they get +2 move. Mm-hmm. So I just love that. The idea of like a Wolf Touch, Wolf Priest, or Battle Leader that's like transforming into Wolfen, but he still is like leading them, and he is It just is so cool. Also, I mean, I've talked about this, but this detachment does not have access to advance and charge. Putting this on a battle leader or a priest that does not even have to attach to Wolfen just gives your unit +2 move. So essentially, it's almost like you get advance and charge, but you automatically know it's a 2. Pretty great.
Yep.
Hunter's Guile. Adeptus Astartes model. After both players have deployed, select up to 3 Thunderwolf Cav, Wolfen, or Blood Claws, redeploy them, and you put them in strategic reserve. Yeah, that's okay. Like, it's kind of cute, but yeah. Elder's Guidance. Space Wolf model once per battle, start of the fight phase. If the bear is leading Blood Claws, it can use this enhancement to increase the AP of melee weapons by 1. It also does apply to its own melee weapons, so that's kind of interesting.
Yes.
Blood Claws suffer from a lack of AP, so yeah. Helm of the Beast Slayer. Adeptus Astartes model only. Each time an attack made by character, monster, vehicle, reduce AP by 1. So this is AOC all the time.
Yes.
And it's on any Adeptus Astartes unit. So you can take this on a Terminator character and join regular Terminators. Not that that's good, but...
Yeah. That's weird. It's only when they're targeted by character, monster, or vehicle. So it's like...
Yeah, that's less powerful than just AOC all the time, because there are a lot of units that don't need characters to be good. You know, infantry,
Fire Dragons, Dark Reaper. Like, there's still some good stuff getting into you. But tanks, you're getting against all tanks. You're getting against all, like, demon princes or tyrannid monsters, and like a lot of... So I mean, the stuff you're getting against normally has good AP, so it's really, really nice. There'll just be a few situations where things will be able to get around it.
Yeah. What are you thinking about these enhancements?
Wolf Touched, I really like. Hunter's Guile, Elder's Guidance once per game, +1. That's okay. And the Helm of the Beast Slayer is pretty good. I'd give it like a 7.5.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Wolf Touch is really the standout one to give wolves a Rezagai or and +1 wound all the time, or reroll ones to hit and sustain. They can then take their little guns, or to get +2 move to a unit. That's just a really good enhancement. That's the one that really stands out to me that I would really consider taking. Redeploy is cute. For me, I would say this is more of like a 6-ish. Like, it's not. It's okay. These are okay when you take them.
Yeah, I guess we're just talking strength. I just like Wolf Touched for the idea of it, but yeah, it's strength-wise, yeah, you're probably right. Probably a little closer to 6, but I'll stay at my 7.
What do you think? So stratagems. You want to read them out?
All right, so we got Unbridled Ferocity. Fight phase. One Space Wolf unit. Until the end of the phase, each time model under unit makes an attack, add 1 to the wound roll. So +1 to wound. You already have lethal hits, so there's really consistently wounding stuff there. We got Thunderous Pursuit. Your movement phase, just after an enemy unit ends a normal, advance, or fallback move. 1 Adeptus Astartes unit from your army that's within 9. And not within engagement range, they can make a 6-inch move if it's infantry or cavalry. So it's a decent little reactionary move if people like fall back or just move in your range. Then we have Shot Cavalry. This basically lets Thunderwolf Cavalry charge through models and terrain which is 4 inches or less, which most terrain that's 4 inches, there's not much you really see between 2 and 3, and you can already move over 2. So that part of it's a little hit or miss, but them being able to go through screens is really, really nice.
Yeah, quite powerful.
Then we have Impetuosity, which basically is a blood surge for Wolfen or Blood Claws, which situationally can be really, really nice depending on how you're playing the units. Then we have Pinning Fire. Your shooting phase, 1 Adeptus Astartes unit from your army that has not been selected, shoot this phase. Until the end of the phase, after the unit has shot, select 1 enemy character, monster, or vehicle unit. Till your next shooting phase, subtract 2 from their move and 2 from their charge. So it's -2 to move and charge, but it only affects character, monster, and vehicle. But that's still pretty good. Then Coordinated Fire, opponent's fight phase, Coordinated Strike. 1 Space Wolf unit from your army that is wholly within 9 inches or 1 or more table edges can go back into strategic reserve. So there's some decent ones here. This is pretty good.
I like that the +1 to wound is not Lance, because it's just if
Yes.
you're already engaged or you get charged, +1 wound can be really powerful.
Absolutely.
I love the reactive move that can change dynamics and project space. The blood surge, I having as someone who's played reactive move blood surge can be really, really oppressive into the right matchup. And in the wrong matchup, it doesn't matter at all. If you're being charged by melee, if you're in a melee mirror, blood surge doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, the only difference is between the Thunderwolf reactive move blood surge is these units are easier to kill and the bases don't block as well. But it's still a nice little thing to have.
Yeah, I've played quite a few games with Beastslayer. I've used move through models once. That was quite powerful for Thunderwolf Cavalry, especially early because they want to be skirmishers. Your opponent like screens the objective with 5 little rangers, then you can go or whatever. You can go charge through them or move through them. And again, reactive move is just amazing.
Yeah, and the thing I like about the shock cavalry is its movement or charge. So you could do it in both. So you could run through a screen in the movement phase and charge through a second screen to really get into like tanks or something that can't fall back and shoot and just really mess with people.
Yeah. For me, I would say these strats are okay. +1 wound is great, reactive move is great, and the rest are very situational. For that reason, I think I would say it's like a 6 or a 7 for me. I'll put it as a 7.
Yep, I'll say same 7.
They're good. They're not amazing. That's not the reason why you take the detachment.
Exactly.
Okay, Saga the Beastlayer. So let's take a look at what we. Oh well, that's not good. What we ranked these detachments as. So Saga the Hunter, we've got 7.4. Saga the Bold, I'll change that in a second, but Saga the Bold is 7.3. And Saga of the Beastlayer is 7.5. So this is is this about what you were expecting?
I guess, guys, but I would say the stratagems, enhancements, and army detachment rule aren't of the same like strength. So even though they're all, because this is averaging each of those, so I would say Bold is stronger than Hunter because I think the detachments, even though Hunter's detachment rule's better, I think the stratagems are more important than the enhancements or the detachment rule.
Yeah,
most of the time.
I would say Beastlayer is the most well-rounded detachment.
I would agree. Yep.
Doesn't advance in charge, doesn't fall back in charge, but it's just the most well-rounded. Just does a lot of damage.
I would agree. Yep. Bold fits my style more, which is why I like Bold. But I think most people will probably end up, if they're running a Wolf detachment, doing Beastslayer.
Yeah, I would say Beastlayer is the easiest to pick up and go.
Yep.
It's very straightforward. It has a couple tricks with the blood surge, move through models, and reactive move.
And your army, your detachment rules just on against most of the stuff you wanted.
And it is incredible. Lethal hits is, I cannot understate like how good lethal hits. All of a sudden you're shooting intercessors at a tank. You're like, oh, wait a second. I did like 4 wounds at AP1, like for no reason. Yep. You know, like just randomly, oh, I overwatched, so I actually wounded automatically. You know, stuff like that.
Yeah. Cool. So, yeah, so I think Beastlayer is the strongest, and then I would say Bold slightly behind it, and then Hunter. But as you can see, none of them is like heads above, like, oh, you're an idiot for running one of them. Like, because they all have slightly different play styles. So even though this Beastlayer might be slightly stronger than the others, if that just doesn't fit the way you like to play, then you could easily run one of the others.
Yeah, and this was my gut feeling going in. I don't think I could pick the best detachment yet. There's not one obvious best. There's not one obvious worst. They each have their strengths, and you can see here, like we kind of ended up in the same place for all of them. They're all good. Yeah. They all have the places where they shine.
Yep, and yeah, so none of our detachments are a 10, like Star Shatter. Like there's some detachments out there that just completely busted.
Everything, yeah.
Give you everything. I think our data sheets are really, really good. So that even though our detachments are slightly weaker than maybe some of the strong ones out there, I think the army can still fight most of them fairly well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we got, let's see here. Some questions in chat. Is a Headhunter Impulsor Rush a viable list style? I would say so. I was thinking about doing that. One of my original lists was 2 headhunter squads with a priest and Ragnar and impulsors, and then Logan with a Terminator squad. But then watching Daniel play Arjack with some Terminators on the stream, I dropped the second head taker squad for Arjack with a squad of 5 Termies, and I've really been enjoying that. But no, running head taker impulsor rush, I think, is a viable list. I still want to do 18 blade guard, 18 head takers, all in impulsors, and just freaking
Ooh,
spam in people's faces. Be like,
yeah.
eat through these 4 up. Yeah, we're all 2 damage. Yeah, we're all strength 5, but there's a gazillion tax at AP2.
I mean, heck, you might even want to try that with Beast Layer because then they all get lethals all the time. You know.
That's true. That would be a good one. Yep. Or Hunter, get him to +1 to wound. Yep. That could be a thing.
Yeah. Craig's saying just finished a match against Custodia. Is currently 7-1 with Wolves. Incredible. 4-0 with Beast Layer against Imperial Knights, Death Guard, Space Marines, and Custodes. All vehicle character heavy. Yeah, again, most armies are made up of character monster vehicle units. Those are the core of the armies. So just getting lethal hits all the time everywhere against most of your army is just incredible.
Yeah, I think I'm like 6-2, 7-2, something like that. I lost my first game with the Wolves playing the New World Eaters just because I had no idea what I was doing yet and screened badly. And then my last game I played, I lost to Starshot or Necrons. We played one turn, and I absolutely wrecked a whole Wraith squad, so we reset. And then in the second game, he beat me 70-69, and he got 6 challenger points to pull it off at the end.
Wow.
So if it wasn't for challenger points, that would have been another win. So I have some thoughts on challenger cards in competitive tournament play.
Yeah, I wonder about them. I haven't had them really impact my games yet. I played, I think, 7 games so far.
Yeah.
1 Gladius, 1 Stormlance, a handful of Beast Slayer, one Hunter. I need to try out Bold, but so far I'm doing really well.
Yeah, the challenger cards, if you're going second, you're not as worried about your opponent getting them. But if your opponent's going second and they can get challenger cards, it is a pain because, in a fairly balanced matchup, good players, good lists, whoever's going second's probably going to get at least a 5-point primary advantage on turn 5 most of the time. So it's hard to get enough of a lead so if you go into turn 5 up exactly 5 points or less, it's going to be a tie or a loss most of the time. So if you go in between 6 and 8 points, now with a challenger card, it's going to be a tie or a loss because they're just going to get 3 free points because those things are so easy to score. It's basically just like be here.
Yeah.
So you've got to be up 9 to 10 points and hope they don't really beat you on secondaries turn 5, which can happen just with the cards. So you've got to be up 15 points going into turn 5 to confidently think you can win that game.
For me, I think I would like to less rely on having a really close game and being tactical and pulling out the victory. Because it seems like with challenger cards, if you have a really close game, you can't really pull ahead at any point. It just is going to come down to it's really hard to guarantee wins if you're playing a little cagey. For me, I think I'm leaning more into damage. My opponent can't score challenger cards if they're dead. Classic Mark Hertel style. It's like I don't care about points. It's doing secondaries if you're dead.
Yeah, I'm just not a big fan of when one side can get access to points that the other has no access to.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So then Hogfather's got a question here. When you're running Ragnar with head takers, are you using Storm Shield or dual wielding? I was thinking of putting dual wielding ones with him and Pulsar. My early test games, I ran dual wielding, and I found when I hit stuff, I just way overkilled it. I had way more attacks than I needed, and then they'd get just the crap shot out of them by some high AP and just not survive. So I found I didn't need the 2 extra attacks per guy. The keeping them alive longer normally gets me more attacks through the game than 1 or 2 early turns, and then they die without the invul. So I switched to running the shields, but it is fun rolling 6 attacks per guy.
Oh, man. I would say if you're running the 6-man, shields all the way. You were paying the points for the big unit. You want it to be survivable. You don't want them to blow over 6 Marines. If you're running 3-mans, definitely double weapons, because at that point,
yes, you're not going for survivability.
you're not going for
grenade.
survivability. Yeah, and the 3-mans with double weapons, you get precision, you add in buffs, +1 hit, wound, reroll, sustained, dev wounds, everything. Those 3-mans hit like a freaking truck if you get on the buffs. Like, wow.
Yeah. So the way the wording is, Legend, is it looks like they all have to have the same weapon, because it says, let's see where it is. Every Wolfguard head taker is equipped with heavy boltcaster. Here it is. All of the models in this unit can each have their master-crafted weapon or storm shield replaced with one paired master-crafted. So it's all of the models. Whereas if you look at the Terminators, it says any number of models can have their storm bolt replaced with storm shield. So
Correct.
one says any number and one says all. So I believe
Yep.
you are stuck with one way or the other. Although I wish we could mix. That would be amazing.
I really wish it would take like 3 shields, 3 blades, and then you could res the shields over and over again,
Yeah. Or to see what shots it's AP1 or AP0. I'm just going to take it on the double weapon guy and keep the shields alive. Oh, it's AP4 Melta. Well, I'm going to try to hit a 4 up on the shield.
Yeah, and that's also how like Inceptors work. You have to. It says it's exact same wording. All of the models can each have their. So you either have to take all assault bolters or all plasma, and then same thing with head takers, all dual weapons or all shields.
Yeah, just like you either take, if you have a 6-man squad, you either take 0 wolves or 6 wolves. You can't do 3 wolves with a 6-man, which I thought if we'd have been able to do that, that'd been really nice too. Spam a couple little cheap wolf units with your 6-man blade or head takers.
So here's a teaser for next week. We're going to be ranking every single detachment that we have access to. I think how many detachments is it?
11.
11 detachments we have access to. So we really have a lot of choice when it comes to it. Gut feeling, how do you think Space Wolf specific detachments stand up to Space Marine general detachments?
I think there's 2 or 3 Space Marine detachments that will be equal to or maybe ahead of these, depending on how we feel on them. And I think the Space Wolf specific detachments will be better than everything else for Space Wolves.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think you and I are thinking of it. There's some point and click Space Marine detachments that are so powerful with the data sheets we have access to. So I think those will be a lot easier to pilot. I don't know if they'll be better in the long run.
Yeah. Well, and supposedly Space Marine 2.0 is coming out here sometime coming up soon. So who knows what detachments we'll have when that hits anyway. So, and if they do or don't still allow non-codex chapters to use those detachments, if they might get more restrictive with stuff like they're doing with all our keyword stuff.
Honestly, if they took away all the regular Space Marine detachments, I think there would still be GT winning detachments here with points.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Space Wolves, I don't know if Blood Angels and Dark Angels would be as good, although Dark Angels just got a new one. If they lost access to the Space Marine detachment, I think Wolves would still be fine.
Yeah, Blood Angels have some really great detachments. Angelic Inheritors and Liberator are freaking amazing. They just got points drops everywhere. I think they'd be pretty great too.
Yeah. All right, cool. So that's pretty much it for the detachment ranking. Any more questions or thoughts in chat or anything specific you want to try to get into, Aiden?
No, not particularly. Played 4 games this week. I had a lot of fun. Boy, I realized that we can bring to bear a lot of durable, fast, hard-hitting units.
Yes.
Like that is how we do it. I think that's how we've done it since the beginning of the edition.
Yeah. The thing, I've got the most comments from opponents is 1, the speed of our units, and 2, the durability of the Terminators with the -1 damage, or not the with the -1 wound to wound and the 4 wounds, and then popping the -1 damage when I need it. People are just like, I had somebody shoot their whole army and leave Logan alive, just kill his Terminators. And Ragnar with his head takers and Arjak with his Terminators are standing there like, well, we're still here because it took your whole army to deal with that one unit.
Yeah, well, I'm curious. I have been running Logan and 5 Terminators.
Yep.
I've been cutting those 5 Terminators here and there. But I know you like to run even more Terminators. I'm not necessarily. I'd have to try it out. I'm not quite sure how I feel about Terminators.
Yeah. Well, I like the R-Jack fight on death is really nice for them in certain matchups, getting into stuff that fights first. And just the T5 with 4 wounds, just and -1 to wounds, just the survivability of them. And then R-Jack is just a beast. He gets full rerolls into character units, and then he's anti-monster, anti-vehicle 3-up, and just that unit just slaps.
Destroys.
And I like it.
Oh, go ahead.
And they can deep strike, so it's nice that I bring Logan in turn 1 centrally, and then R-Jack rapid ingress, and it's just they're in a position to threaten the backfield more than like a second head taker unit in an impulsor would be.
Yeah, definitely. Hogfather, I'd like to say thank you guys. Been playing for a year. You guys have helped massively with how to get better results with my games. Oh, dude, so happy. We do this because we love it. It is so fun.
Yeah. Here's my best tip to all the new players. Everything we say, do the opposite, and you'll do well. We're teaching you what not to do. We're teaching you what not to do. Yeah. We're Space Wolf fanatics. We love Space Wolves.
We love Space Wolves. Does not mean we're good.
No.
But I'm glad you've had success, Hogfather. It's been great having you. Great chat.
Yep. See your name almost every week. Thank you for the support.
Yeah, man. I've been running a lot of games with 30 Wolfen. I think that is really going to be the core of the army for me. I get convinced by
Shield Hammer.
Shield Hammer for sure.
Yep.
5-mans, yeah, they're okay, they're annoying, but 10-mans when you run 3 of them get really scary for your opponent, especially if they're very vehicle and monster heavy.
Yep. And you're running Beast Slayer, so you put a priest in with 1, and he's just buffing everybody with
+1 to wound, healing guys. I mean, getting them advance in charge in Stormlancer Gladius, they get so fast. So it's like, I rolled a 6. This unit's going 15 inches, and then they're going to go charge your Land Raider and kill it.
Yep. And any other Wolfen unit supporting his unit within 12, all of a sudden has OC, and they can do actions. They can hold objectives. They can.
Yeah, quite powerful.
Yep.
I still, for me, my favorites so far are Stormlance. I love Stormlance. It just has everything that you need, especially with our buff data sheets. Stormlance, Beast Slayer, and Hunter. I kind of like Hunter. It's growing on me.
Yeah. Wolfen, I think you got to take the 10-mans. Just 5-man with 2 attacks each, just 10 attacks. You can just whiff so badly.
Whiff so bad. Have you tried any Wolfen?
I haven't yet. I keep trying to, but my list is playing so efficiently. I haven't really.
I'm just killing people too fast.
I know. So it's I need to play around with something. I got a list I want to play because a lot of people are testing Wolfen and haven't. I want to do a list where I'm running Blood Claws, test some of the stuff no one's running yet. Because I know you and some other people are testing that stuff. So it's nothing. I don't want to just. Oh, I'm just testing the same thing you're testing. I want to here's stuff no one's running. Let's see what it does.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, what I've thought about is people talking about things that no one's tested yet. 10-man Blood Claws by themselves, they're really cheap. They're really cheap. 13.5, they're almost cheap as Sisters of Battle.
And they can advance in charge.
They move 7, advance in charge, a bunch of OCE. They're gonna skirmish really well. I would say that could be a place where they might shine is as a skirmisher.
Oh yeah.
I don't think you take Blood Claws for damage. Even with Ragnar reroll wounds, then we're talking. But
or the 20-man, we're just damaged by just weight of attacks.
I mean, I've even thought about taking in the Beast Slayer. You take Wolf Priest, so you can +1 wound and heal a guy. Then you take Helm of the Beast Slayer, so you can reduce AP by 1, and you can also go to ground out in the open to give him a 6-up invuln and essentially -2 AP to anything incoming, and then they have Blood Surge and reactive move. So there's kind of a I'm going to mob you down style of Blood Claws that might be interesting.
Yeah, and then the Iron Priest doesn't need much play testing, we all know. That's just freaking good.
Man, he smokes people.
Dude, and I was enjoying him with the Lancer. I put those Predator Annihilators on the table. I built 2 last weekend right before I got my box. I built them Friday night, got my box Saturday. Put them on the table against those Necrons. I picked with 1 Lancer and then 2 Rapid Fire Predators. The Lancer wasn't Rapid Fire. I picked up 6 Wraith, 2 Crypto Thralls, and the Technomancer in 1 round of shooting.
Wow. Yeah. I played into that just the amount of shooting that we can bring to bear now because of that data sheet
Well,
Wow.
especially the first time they pop off because they get a hunter killer. It's basically 8 las cannon shots. Although the hunter killer's not +1 to damage, but still it's 8 shots.
And you can reroll all damage roll. So then you oath something, you're rerolling all hits.
Yep.
You're running on 3s with almost everything, rerolling all wounds. It is just so powerful.
Why are you rerolling all wounds?
Predator Annihilators, look up their rule. They reroll all wounds against monsters and vehicles.
Wow, I didn't.
Sorry, no, not wounds. Damage.
Damage. Oh okay.
Wow. Yeah, no, that would be crazy. You're rerolling all hits and all damage.
Okay. I was gonna say wounds. I was missing something.
Yeah. Although you know what I thought about in Saga of the Hunter is a Thunder Strike and Predator Annihilators, because you have that strat. I'm going to read that strat again. If 2 units target us one thing in the shooting phase, you get +1 to wound against it. Sorry, you get reroll wounds of 1. And you take the Thunder Strike, you then +1 to wound. So all of your Predator shots are wounding on 2s rerolling, which is like, I don't even know if you need that much damage, but that is just so much damage.
Or now you put a little Incursor unit in there, shoot something, give yourself
+1 to hit.
+1 to hit. And now your one Predator you shoot in there is also rerolling its wounds.
That's another thing I've included in Cursors in my list, because I find that I have 2 Predators that can shoot. I usually point them at different things. One gets Oath, and then in Cursors, I played a game into Mark Cartel. He had 3 Land Raiders. Oh. And the first Land Raider I oathed, I was in 24. I shot, he AOC'd. I only got 1 wound through and did like 4 damage. And I was like, dang. Oh, but I have in Cursors another Predator within 24 of another Land Raider, so I'll +1 to hit there. I did 15 wounds to that other one from without Oath, just with +1 to hit and reroll damage rolls. So that was eye-opening for me and for him. He called that game bottom of turn 2 because he was getting tabled.
Yeah, that's the thing with my Necron game. We reset after turn 1, and he had to play a lot more cautious. He could not let me draw shots on him.
Yeah, I would not want to be on the opposite end of a Predator rapid firing.
Yeah, I got both my games with the Predator were into the Necron with just 2 big bricks and the Silent King. So I want to get into a game where I can split fire them a little more and see how that goes.
Yeah, they do really great. They now win firefights, whereas previously it was kind of like a toss-up. Pointed Predator at a Demon Prince, the Emperor's Children Demon Prince. There it was in combat, so it was -1 to hit and -1 damage, and I still smoked it in one activation.
Yep. Yeah, that's the one thing. If anything in our book gets hit, I think it's going to be the Iron Priest.
Definitely the Iron Priest. Maybe the 4-up Invuln data sheets, like I would say Thunderwolf Cavalry and Wolfen. They feel a little oppressive when you bring max of them.
Yeah, we'll see how they do. But because the Iron Priest, I think they could either limit to where only 1 Iron Priest in your army can do the buff, or it buffs 1 gun, or something like that, or they just jack their points up.
Yeah. Hogfather saying, any advice for what tank to use if you don't have firstborn ones? There are ones that
Lancer.
Yes, Lancer's great. Ballistus is really great with rapid fire. Repulsor is really great with rapid fire. Repulsor Executioner is really great with rapid fire. Even Impulsors with firing deck we get rapid fire on that, but I think that feels like it's going to be FAQ'd, kind of like how they FAQ'd the shoot, get back in, shoot again. That feels like it's not super intended.
Yeah, it depends on what you're trying to get. If you're trying to kill big stuff, I like the Lancer because he gets the extra shot at 36 inches.
Totally. And he gets rerolls.
And he's already got 1 built-in reroll. And if you're playing bold and get the thing up, now with 3 shots, you're rerolling 2 hits, 2 wounds, 2 damage.
Yeah.
It's just super efficient, especially in bold.
Or an Ironstorm, man. Like Ironstorm with Repulsor Executioners, Lancers.
I got to play around with that. Yeah, 2 to 3 Iron Priests and Ironstorm. I think there's something with just 1 or 2 combat bricks just to counter protect your units and counter charge. I think that could be.
Even Beastslayer. Even if you take an Ironstorm list and put it into Beastslayer, getting lethals across the board is freaking incredible for shooting.
Yeah, the fact that the Predator is cheaper than the Ballistus, I just don't think there's any bonuses there. The Ballistus can go from 4 shots to 6 within 24, whereas the Predator goes from 3 to 6, so there's the same amount of shots. The Predator is strength 14 and strength 12, d6 +1 on all of it, whereas
you're rolling damage.
Yeah, and rerolling damage, yep, against the big stuff, which is normally true. Whereas the Ballistus is a strength 10 with D6, and then a strength 12 with D6 +1. Although it does get full rerolls into something that's unhurt, which is still nice for the
Still
Ballistus.
amazing.
So it can target something that's not your oath target. So they're not completely like, I wouldn't say don't bring one. Before I bought my Predators, I was running a Ballistus and liking it when stuff got close. I wish it got, you doubled your number of shots for the blast too. That would be great, but it just becomes
That would be pretty amazing.
D6 +1 for the frag. But
not great. Here's an interesting thing: is if you tap Bjorn, he gets double tap on his health frosted 18, which is amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've done that a few times.
An interesting thing, I'm not quite sure if it works this way, but can you rapid fire one flamers and Hellfrost flamers?
Yes, they become
so
D6
within
+1.
6 inches, you get +1 to those flamers.
Absolutely.
That's pretty amazing. I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the only thing you can't rapid fire, to my understanding, is something that already has rapid fire.
Right.
So your bolters don't become rapid fire 3. Your stubber doesn't become rapid fire 4. So things like sustained, you can't stack it.
I would say the Ballistus is slightly less damage, slightly more durability. 2-up save, +1 wound, +1 OC. There's reasons for taking a Ballistus, but Predator Annihilator smokes vehicles, man. You have to try it if you have not tried it.
What's up, Kurt? Hopefully you're coming up tomorrow night for Wednesday night 40K at Almost Functional HQ.
That would be fun.
Yep, I got a data card and a Space Wolf Codex for me. You're supposed to be coming to pick up from me.
That's dope. We should get some battle reports on the channel soon. I would love that. I've had a couple people ask for that.
Yeah, I got to get someone. We could maybe do a TTS. I got to get someone to come help me figure out how to set all these cameras and switch between them. On StreamYard right now, I can only switch between 2 cameras, and I want to try to be able to do more than that and do figure out how to do the score overlay like a lot of the other channels do. I haven't been able to figure out how to do that. The only way I figured to do it is do it down here, my little banner thing.
Yeah.
But it's a little more low tech. It doesn't it's not, it'll work. It'll be almost functional. But yeah, I've been trying to find someone local that's better. I'm a construction guy. I'm learning this YouTube computer stuff as we go, but I can only do so much of it.
Yeah. TTS I would do because I can't do because I just have a laptop, so it would totally explode playing TTS and recording at the same time.
Yeah.
Craig's saying there's a definite nerf to the Iron Priest. He suspects that it would be limited to 1 weapon, making him something like 85 points. I could see a point increase. Limiting to 1 weapon would be a little bit of a shame. Then you would really want to take a Lancer or Repulsor.
I was saying that really plays into the Lancer and the big guns. But so we'll see. I don't know if they'll do both.
Right.
I don't know if they'll point increase and give him 1 weapon. It's one or the other. So I'm hoping it's just a point increase. Then maybe you only run 1 and 1 Predator, or still run 2 Predators in case 1 dies, but or try to shave points somewhere else because it's only 15 points. Maybe drop an enhancement or something.
Yeah, totally. Mm-hmm. Legends talking about Gladius. Avoided Gladius All Edition. Ooh.
Oops. I think we both tried to click on the same thing.
That's funny.
There we go.
Avoided Gladius All Edition. May literally play it because I want a strat for extra AP. For that alone, it ticks me off. But Saga the Hunter still for now. Hunter's great. We do actually have a lot of we kind of cap out at AP2 across the entire board.
Yeah. But I find AP2 is really a decent place to be because most stuff that you want more than AP2 against has invols. The only place you really want into it is Armor Contempt armies can be a little bit of a pain going back down to AP1. And then they don't get cover, so it's that's not a problem. And shooting AP2 can be a problem with AOC and cover.
Yeah.
But
another reason to run the Predator over the Ballistus because the Ballistus has AP2 on some of its guns.
Yep.
But I find that against Terminators, against Gilliman, Calgar, units with 2-up saves, yes, they can AOC, and that's been a problem for Wolves in the past. But the big reason you take Logan is Logan forces all of those AOCs to 2 CP. So you can't do it in both phases. You don't even want to do that because maybe you want a heroic, maybe you want to interrupt. But I find that Vect really shuts down AOC as an option for a defensive
Oh yeah.
move.
Well, yeah, and then heroic and interrupt. Well, now you're spending 5 CP, and most people aren't saving 5 CP. So like, no, I find Logan getting in the middle of people's armies is big. Like people do not like it because on that 80 mil base, him middle table, a 12-inch aura, he's hitting most of their army.
Everything. And here's the thing, I ran him once solo and I didn't like it because he just got killed easily. But with Turn Raiders, that Vector is sticking around like all game.
Yes. Yeah, or most of the game. Because you don't normally send them in to like turn 2 or 3, and they're not killing them in one turn most of the time. So
yeah. So what would you prefer, Lancer or Predator? I haven't tried Lancer with the new rapid fire. What do you think?
I like 1 Lancer, 2 Predators, what I'm running now. That way, if they're sitting back long range, I just rapid fire the Lancer because he only has to get within 36. The 1 free reroll in there, possibly 2 if you get your Saga up in bold. Neg 4, D6 plus 3 with the built-in damage rerolls into everything. So that's nice, but then the Predators are just so many shots, especially the first time with the Hunter Killer. When you pop out and rapid fire with the 2 Hunter Killer Predators, 8 shots each, basically. Yeah, but if I had to only take one right now, it would be the Predator because it's cheaper and it's more shots.
Yep. So on average, even with the rerolls from Lancer, on average, it does more damage to tanks. So you're right. If I had to choose, I would choose 1 Predator, but I'm actually considering taking a Lancer as well, along with the Predators.
Plus, I'm doing 2 and 1, so it's like I like having both.
Logan is 100% on an 80 millimeter, Kurt. They have confirmed that in the Warhammer community tournament companion. You can look up all the base sizes now, and they have it for the new codex. So Logan is one of 16 models in the entire game on an 80 millimeter base.
Yep. I've had the Terminators and Head Takers do great for me, especially the Termies with Logan and Arject. And then Ragnar giving the Head Takers advance and charge. 24 attacks with lethal precision into your target is just, it can wreck some stuff.
Totally. Absolutely. Yeah. 18 cavalry and 30 wolfen is still better. I mean, yes, that is going to be oppressive as an army. You have to be able to, I tried out 12 Thunder Cav and 30 wolfen, and it was super oppressive. Like, you have to be ready for that. And especially now because the army shoots hard now. So you have all of that. That, stayed the same points roughly, but got more damage somehow and got a little faster somehow. And then also the army shoots harder. So it's like, whoa, this is going to be a definite army to be aware of and even maybe play. Like I said, it could be really good.
Yeah, I'm interested to see which one ends up doing better. And that should be our first battle report. The 18 Cavalry, 30 Wolf and Stormlance versus my bold Terminator Head Taker list.
That would be very interesting. That would be.
But a Wolf on Wolf doesn't necessarily show the power of them into everything else, but it would be funny.
Yeah.
But I find the 18 Cav list, the 30 Wolfen will help with it, though, because they're infantry. The 18 Cav list can still get bottlenecked by certain things. But now you have a counterattack with the Wolfen, which will help dig you out of it, but they can still slow you up for a turn.
Yeah.
Especially in Stormlance, where you don't have the move through unit thing.
Big weakness of that list, having played Wolfjail so much, getting move blocked. That's where I kind of like Saga of the Beast Slayer because you can move Thundercav through models, or Saga of the Hunter because you can move Wolfen through models.
Yep.
Like, that is a real game changer.
Yep. So they can't move block the whole army, but you can get one unit through to help, but they can still slow a lot of it up.
Totally.
Yeah. But yeah, that's still gonna super fast hit hard, especially now Thunderwolf's at 3 damage. Like
Wolfen at 3 damage. Wolfen don't even need Oath.
Yeah, because they have the built-in reroll 1 for themselves.
Anti 3+.
Yeah, you can give them the +1 to wound with the priest, or give them sustained with the battle leader, in which case they get the reroll 1s from him, so you drop the totems and get your shots from the stupid little frag auto launcher, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that. There's so many different. I'm interested to see 60 Bloodclaw, 30 Grey Hunter, Beast Slayer, or just here's a million attacks, all lethal hits. Just I'm swarming the board with so much OC and bodies.
You can't do anything about it.
Can you kill enough of it? And then cool. Even if you're Grey Knights, you got a 2-up save, make 50 of them.
Yeah. Good luck.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we had a lot of great talk about the detachments today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So unless there's any more questions from chat or you got anything, I think we're at a pretty good wrapping up point.
Yep. I think we're pretty good. Like I said, we've got the full detachment ranking list for Space Wolves coming up next week.
Yep. Yeah, and I'll look into the detachments, play around with some lists and units, so I'll have a little better idea of that, because some of them I haven't even really theoried wolves into them, so I couldn't even do that tier list tonight because I haven't even really given it thought. But I'll try to get some thought into some of that before next week.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. As always, like, share, subscribe, all that cool stuff, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for watching Almost Functional Gaming. We appreciate the support of all followers of Russ and the Allfather. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also, check out our merch store and Almost Functional Score Tracker on Amazon. Everything helps support the growth of this channel, and we appreciate it.
All right.